Hey man, let's be real. Most reverb plugins are confusing as but I got something that's gonna make getting a perfect reverb super simple. Let's check it out. What up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Wavy Wayne from WavyProAudio.com. You see me rocking my Mixnick tee. Shout out to everybody that was at Mixnick. More content on that on the way. But this channel is all about helping you to record and mix better and faster. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the FabFilter Pro-R2 reverb. Now, this is a really amazing reverb, one of the best sounding reverbs, but also a really easy to use user interface. First, let's just go ahead and check out the plugin before we see how it sounds. So the thing I like most about this reverb plugin is that it literally has everything built in that I would normally use like 2 or maybe even 3 plugins to do, including like EQs, compressors, and gates. Looking at the top of the reverb, when you open up the Pro R2, again, the first thing you're going to see is this big old space thing. Now, the space is going to determine what is the size of the room. And a quick little tip that you will get on here is that you can easily just jump and select these different spaces. Hit the little boxes if you want a super small space, or like a room, or if you want to go all the way up to a cathedral style, right? This is going to also affect like the tail of the reverb and how long that reverb is based on that space. So again, some of the confusing language that you might find in typical reverbs has been removed here to make it a whole lot simpler to understand. I'll go all the way over to the right. The mix, obviously, when I'm setting this up as a send and return for a reverb like you typically want to do, I'll keep that mix at 100%. Here's one of my favorite things about this plugin is the ducking feature. Now, imagine a vocal with a reverb in it, right? That you put in reverb on, and you want this really big reverb sound. Well, sometimes that reverb can get in the way of that vocal or whatever it is that you add that reverb to. This ducking inside the plugin will automatically duck the sound, the level of the reverb whenever the main signal is present. So let's just take a listen to how that actually works, man. So let's just get really dramatic here. I'm gonna go super big with the space and go all the way to a cathedral. It's probably gonna sound kind of crazy, but I want y'all to hear how this ducking works. I'm gonna back it all the way off and let's just hear how this reverb interferes with this vocal. Matter of fact, it's gonna be even better if I turn this up a little bit more so we can get a really loud reverb sound. Just make it super easy for y'all to hear this, okay? Crash into me like a tidal wave. Right, now you can hear how that vocal is being completely washed out. Now what happens when I turn up some ducking? Let's just go like halfway, right? Crash into me like a tidal wave. Right, so it allows the reverb to actually duck whenever that main signal is present, and it's gonna, like right now, it's reducing it by 25 dB. So it's like really stomping down on that reverb sound. As soon as the main signal goes away, then the reverb opens all the way up. This is a huge trick for anybody who wants big, long reverbs, but don't want to get their mix all muddled up. You can use this to duck in the reverb. Now, I'm not gonna go so big on the size. Let's find the size that works here. Crash into me like a tidal wave. I like how that sounded. Again, you got the long 3-second tail of the reverb, but as that vocal is playing, you're not getting all of that extra interference from the reverb. I would typically accomplish this by setting up a whole side chain to a compressor on the reverb channel and all of that. This is built in, again, making it super easy to get that perfect reverb sound. You also got this stereo width that I like if you want to make the reverb wider or tighter, you can do that easily. Crash into me like a tidal wave. Super wide. I'm here for a good time, baby. Or narrow, right? Misbehave. Crash into me like a tidal wave. I like that. Obviously, you have the brightness as well if you want the reverb to be bright. They even give you some tips on everything. So another dope thing about these beautifully designed FabFilter plugins is that if you hover your mouse over any of the controls, they will literally tell you what it does, right? So with the brightness knob, controls the clarity and high-low frequency balance of the reverb. Lower brightness values correspond to spaces with more high frequency absorption. So yeah, like places that have like softer walls and other stuff, more people in it, right, is going to absorb more of those high frequencies better. In real spaces, let's see, go back. In real spaces, high frequencies are very easily absorbed, depending on the surface of the walls, curtains, or objects. In the room, the average room or hall has a pretty dark reverb sound. Turning down the brightness a bit, therefore, will give you a more natural, realistic reverb. So let's play with that brightness a little bit.
Crash into me like a tidal wave.
I like that.
I'm here for a good time, baby. Let's misbehave.
Right, and you can hear how those bright frequencies start to kind of just make the reverb sound not as lush.
Crash into me like a tidal wave. I'm here for a good time, baby. Let's misbehave.
I like that. I like that. You also can affect different stuff like the character of the reverb, which will like add some saturation and play with the tone of it a little bit.
Crash into me like a tidal wave. I'm here for.
You obviously also have this thickness of the plugin. The thickness knobs adds an intuitive combination of density and saturation to the reverb sound. The audible effect can vary quite a lot depending on the program material. Let's see what the thickness.
Crash into me like a tidal wave. I'm here for a good time, baby. Let's misbehave. Crash into me like a tidal wave. I'm here for a good time, baby. Let's misbehave.
Right, so I probably want to actually go with a little shorter reverb time.
Crash into me like a tidal wave. I'm here for a good time, baby.
Right, and then the distance, this is another control that I love here. It's basically placing your listener closer or further away from the source by adjusting the distance. So as we increase, and make sure I'm here, as we increase the distance, it's like you're actually walking away or getting further away. So this also can be used in sound design where you could automate this distance. And if you wanted to feel like, you know, the listener is walking away from a certain thing and the reverb gets more intense or changes its characteristics as you get further away.
Crash into me like a tidal wave. I'm here for a good time, baby. Let's misbehave.
Let's bring that listener close up.
Crash into me like a tidal wave. I'm here for a good time, baby. Let's misbehave.
Let's just mute that music real quick.
Crash into me like a tidal wave. I'm here for a good time, baby. Let's misbehave.
Right? And one of my other favorite things about this plugin is this little control right here where you can actually control the decay rate of the reverb based on different frequencies. So if I want the low end of the reverb, like all the low end frequencies to kind of end shorter than the high end frequencies, let that high end kind of trail off, but the low end can sometimes get a little muddy and start to cloud up the mix. I can use this little decay rate and bring this down. And what it's going to do is basically shorten the length of the decay in this frequency range.
Crash into me like a tidal wave.
We can hear a huge difference already to where those low frequencies are being really dramatically kind of chopped down.
Crash into me like a tidal wave. I'm here for a good time, baby. Let's misbehave.
Right? And then obviously down at the bottom, you got your standard EQ. Again, this is another thing that I would typically use a whole nother plugin for, but this EQ is built in right here into this plugin, allowing me to shape the sound of the reverb. I got a little bit of this mid-range and low mids kind of notched out right here, and then rolling off some of the high ends, a typical thing that I would do to keep out of the way of my vocal and also roll off some of that unnatural brightness.
Crash into me like a tidal wave. I'm here for a good time, baby. Let's misbehave. Crash into me like a tidal wave. I'm here for a good time, baby. Let's misbehave.
Ah, man, I'm thinking that sounded really good. Let's hear this now with the music.
Crash into me like a tidal wave. I'm here for a good time, baby. Let's misbehave.
So basically you can see that this is easily one of the most fun, intuitive reverb plugins that I've seen, man. Let me know what your favorite reverb plugin is. You can actually cop this FabFilter Pro-R2 and all of the other FabFilter plugins directly from WavyProAudio.com. Do y'all like this plugin, this reverb? To me, this is my new favorite reverb. I'm not messing with all those foreign parameters on other reverbs, man. This one makes it super simple and it's gonna be super quick for you to get the reverb sound that you want. I'm Wavy from WavyProAudio.com. Be dope.
Crash into me like a tidal wave. I'm here for a good time, baby. Let's misbehave.